My name is Jim Manning, and I'm the author of Patriotism Unhinged, available worldwide through online retailers. We're going to talk about some of my friends who have been involved in the Kennedy assassination studies. Number one today will be Mary Moorman. We're going to show you a couple of pictures of Mary. One, what she looked like at the time of the assassination, and one, how she looks these days. She took the most famous picture of the 20th century. She had gone down to see if she could get a picture of Kennedy with her Polaroid camera. The Polaroid camera makes a picture 4 inches by 6 inches. And as the limousine crossed in front of her, she snapped a picture at the exact second that a man shot a rifle shot and hit Mr. Kennedy in the temple. The exact second. Now, I'll explain in a few minutes how we know that. When her picture was developed, right behind the limousine, there was sort of a fan of materials, blood, maybe some brain material, some bone that had flown off. It looked like a fan right behind the limousine. Mostly it hit the motorcycle driver on the left side of the limousine. Now, through the exponential development of photography, a number of years ago, a gentleman who specifically studies photography, Leroy Blevins, decided to work on that shot. And what happened was that what you cannot see in the 4 by 6 inch picture, but when it's blown up accurately, there's a 1/4 of an inch by a 1/4 of an inch square that shows a man with a rifle in his hand, and coming out in front of the rifle is what appears to be smoke. It's the gases exploding from the bullet. And the man, you can't see his face, but you can see his head, his hairline, and it's unmistakable what he's doing. Now, we also have another picture where there's a man standing to the right of that man with the rifle, who appears to be in an army uniform with a pointed cap. And that's Gordon Arnold, who most of the researchers are familiar with. Now, one of the things that is a little different about these photographs is that depth is a problem. So it looks like he's standing right next to the shooter. However, the shooter might have been 10 feet behind him. On the left-hand side of the shooter, there's a man with a hard hat, possibly a railroad worker, but more than likely it was his job to make sure that nobody got to the shooter after the shots were taken and he was on his way out of there. We're going to now show you a shot that was made by Charles Rogers. Charles Rogers, very interesting character. He was from Texas originally. He was indicted for the murder and mismemberment of his mother and father. The authorities found them chopped up and both of them in a refrigerator. He was a student of physics and also was a member of the Central Intelligence Agency. He disappeared pretty much after the assassination. He's seen in the pergola where Zapruder and Mrs. Weitzman, who works for Zapruder, is steadying him on a pedestal. He has got a rifle, he's left-handed, and he's shooting from that pergola. And just a few feet to his right, there's a hole in the pergola, and you can see that there's a man there, and you can see that there's a rifle there. And that I believe, is Charles Harrelson. And Charles Harrelson is a known killer and eventually went to prison for life for killing a federal judge. I didn't know until recently that the archives has a picture of the cadaver where there's another hole in Mr. Kennedy's head, which is under his ear, below and to the rear of his ear, which would have come perfectly from that pergola. This is something that very few people have seen. Charles Rogers and Harrelson and Chauncey Holt were the three tramps. Whenever the pictures were taken of the three tramps, they were also blown up. And you will see a picture of Charles Rogers walking toward the camera. When it was blown up, you could see that on his left lapel, where he would have had the gun up to shoot from his left side, an indentation of a rifle butt along with a image of some kind that was on the rifle butt itself. This kind of evidence is non-arguable. He was a shooter, he was a CIA person, and him and Charles Harrelson definitely were in position to make adequate use of their shooting.